welcome to week 2 of the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show. I'm your host, Casey Ford. Thank you to everyone who listened last week on WQXO Munising, also on SoundCloud and on Spotify. This week on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show, we'll hear from head coach Matt Matson of the Munising Mustangs as they talk about their week 1 victory over Cedarville and how they look forward to playing Pickford on the road this Labor Day weekend. That game Friday, 7 o'clock on WQXO Munising. We'll talk to head coach Josh Rader of the Pickford Panthers as they defeated Gaylord St. Mary last week and they host Munising Friday night. We'll head to Eben and talk to head coach Sam Eggleston of the Superior Central Cougars, who got thumped in week 1 by Rudyard 52-0, but they host Inca Dine Thursday night, 5 o'clock, in a game you can hear on WQXO as they look for their first win. And we'll talk to Inca Dine head football coach Vince Levier as he tries to get his team on the board this week as they travel to Superior Central. We'll head to Marquette County and talk to head football coach Eric Mason of the Marquette Redmen, whose team had a big 49-14 victory over Alpena in week 1. They get set to take on a very tough Traverse City Central Trojan football team, a team that lost to DeWitt last week, 47-27. You're listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour on WQXO Munising, SoundCloud, and on Spotify. We'll take this quick time out. We'll come back with head coach Matt Matson of the Munising Mustangs right after this. You're listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour on WQXO Munising, SoundCloud, and Spotify.
All you need is love and a walking taco from Tacopotamus. Javier is on a mission to fill up your belly and your heart with a giant bag of Doritos or Fritos filled with fresh ingredients, including beef, 3 different cheeses, lettuce, cilantro, jalapenos, pico, and sour cream, all totally customizable. The perfect on-the-go food. Walk away with a walking taco from Tacopotamus today. And remember, all you need is love and walking tacos.
Timber Products Company, a leader in diversified wood product sales, manufacturing, and transportation, is now hiring primary day shift production laborers for their manufacturing facility in Munising, Michigan. They offer many opportunities for job growth and advancement in a comprehensive benefits package, including life insurance, health, dental, vision, and prescription coverage, vacation and holiday pay, flexible spending accounts, and a 401k plan with employer contributions. Timber Products Company is an equal opportunity employer, including protected veterans and people with disabilities. See all Timber Products Company opportunities on the Careers tab at timberproducts.com. Contact Rochelle Hanna at rhanna@timberproducts.com. That's rhanna@timberproducts.com.
Welcome back to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show as Matt Matson from the Munising Mustang football team leads things off. And coach, what a victory it was in week 1, 28-0 over a very good Cedarville team that some people might look at the score and be like, oh, they beat Cedarville, they're not that good. Cedarville's a really good team, and you guys avenged the loss from what you had a season ago. First, how does it feel, first game of the season, being able to pitch a shutout, which isn't easy to do in 8-man football?
Yeah, we've made some defensive philosophy changes this year a little bit. So it's a little bit of a new system for everybody, so we're still learning some things. But yeah, pitching a shutout in 8-man is not an easy thing to do. Our offense, the way it's built, kind of helps because we try to control the football and the time of possession, those types of things. But yeah, anytime you can pitch a shutout, it's a great night defensively.
Now, your football team, we talked about changes that happen each and every year, but I thought Reagan Bowerman had an outstanding game. He had a bunch of solo tackles, and he also helped out with a bunch of group tackles as well. So talk about Reagan and getting him comfortable with this system and how he played on Friday night.
Yeah, Reagan's a real good athlete. He's a wrestler. He's a tough kid. He's going to give you everything he has. We have him playing an outside linebacker position, and he's not a large kid. That's by any means, but he's a very sure tackler, and he did a great job. His job is to force things in and contain things, and he did that very well, and also made some nice open field tackles. So, yeah, he had a nice game for us.
Well, and you also had another guy, Billy Crisp, that filled in at quarterback position, and it was his first start of the year. Talk about Billy and the maturation of this guy, because I know he put a ton of work in at the quarterback position in the offseason.
Yeah, Billy's been a great worker his whole career. I didn't have many issues with him going into the season or last season for that matter. Billy's biggest problem last year was taking snaps at times. He would bobble some snaps and turn the ball over at times in practice, and he's cleaned that up this year. So, mentally he's always been right with it. He throws a nice ball. So, Billy played a nice game for us, had some nice runs on our option, and did a great job. Head coach
Matt Matson joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show as we talk about Munising and recap the Cedarville game from last week and talk about Pickford that's ahead this week. Continuing to talk about your football team, we were able to get a couple of videos that were put out there, and we saw your son run over a defender. We saw a nice rollout from Billy Crisp. It looked like a pass run option that he had. When you see a guy like your son run over a defensive back, how much does that fire up a football team?
Yeah, I think when you look at our team, we're not blessed with great size, but we have good speed, and we have some tough kids. We have kids between, 160 pounds and 205 that can fly around and run and deliver the blow. My son Jacob, when he hits people, he hits people. They normally know about it. And then you got a couple Paramackies flying around. So I think that was one of the best things that the other night was. It kind of felt like an old Mid-Penn conference football game because there were some pads cracking, and for the most part, we were delivering those blows. Now, there were some penalties, and you have to clean some things up after week one. You try not to dwell on them because, like I said, you did win 28-0. But what's your message to the team about keeping their composure and not getting those unnecessary penalties? Yeah, there were a couple penalties that we got to clean up. There were a couple close ones that we're not going to clean up. Jacob's first one was definitely a late hit. We can't have that. It was 3rd and 12. We were going to be off the field. They were going to have to punt, and we picked up a penalty, and they got a first down. But we had a holding on a big play that hurt us and sent us backwards one time, and we ended up having to punt the ball away on that possession. The other couple penalties were real close, and I would say questionable at best, but, it goes that way sometimes. And I never thought we ever lost our composure. I just thought a couple of them we had, we didn't get the right side of the coin flip on the call, to be honest with you. So, I didn't think anybody really lost their composure. I had a feeling that Jacob was going to have a couple more big hits on the night. And when Jacob plays in between the whistles, there's not many people that deliver a bigger blow than he does. But he needs to make sure that he's, in between the whistles, and it hurts the team when we pick up any personal fouls. So we do need to clean some of those things up. We also had a turnover. We had a fumble on a pitch. So, there's certainly a lot of things to improve on after week one. How does that change a game when maybe, and I'm not ragging on officials, but maybe when officials start anticipating what's going to be a penalty? How does that change a player? How does that change a game in the course of the game? Yeah, the first half the other night, I felt we were dominant at times, and then all of a sudden we got penalty. It's only 14-0, and now they're down on the 15-yard line, and I'm thinking, man, if they score here, they get the ball to start the second half. It's 14-6, they get the ball, and it really, I felt like we should have been up, at least 3 scores at halftime, and I'm going, man, it might only be a 1-score game, and they get the ball. So, sometimes the momentum swings, but to our kids' credit, I never thought we lost our composure. I did call a couple timeouts just to, make sure we were okay, but every time I call a timeout, they seem to be all right, and we end up, keeping Cedarville out of the end zone there before half, and then we came out in the third quarter and punched 2 scores in. So, give the kids credit. They kept their composure very well on a couple questionable calls, but you know what? I don't argue with refs very much. That's a tough job. I didn't like ref in City League basketball, so I try not to I try not to yell at the refs too much because it's a hard job, and there's some close calls. And, the call on Reagan, I thought it could actually been on an offensive kid for, lowering his head. So, well, and Reagan went down on the play. That's what was confusing to me. Right, and if you watch the replay, Reagan used his shoulder pad. He wasn't using his helmet as a weapon, and that's what the ref explained to me. At least the ref did explain it. He thought what he saw was Reagan dipping his head and uses his head for a helmet as a weapon. And if that's what he thought he saw, then I can't argue that, But watching it on film, that's not what happened. But anyhow, we still got the penalty, and you're right. Rankin was the one that was down on the play afterwards for a little bit. But, yeah, like I said, I try not to argue too much just because that's a tough job that they do, and I appreciate that we have enough officials to do it because that we're always scrambling to find officials. So, yeah, but that little string of penalties we had, I'm just glad that the kids overcame those and we held them out of the end zone.
Head coach Matt Matson joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. And, Coach, it doesn't get any easier for you this week as you guys go to Pickford this Labor Day weekend. Before we talk about Pickford, talk about Labor Day and how you guys decide to play on Friday night instead of a Thursday night.
I never have a ton of input on the schedule. We've pretty much always played on Friday. I know lots of schools in Marquette County, they've played on Thursdays. We've always had kind of the Friday schedule. If somebody really wanted to play on Thursday, that's fine. I wouldn't have an argument for or against it. But Pickford was Friday, and we're playing on Friday. If they want to play us Thursday, Wednesday, Saturday, I don't really care. We'll find a field and we'll play them.
Now, we talked about this a little bit last week because we never really look ahead, but technically Pickford did lose twice last year, but there are 2 forfeit games. One was Rapid River, one was Inland Lakes in the playoffs, but they were undefeated. Let's face it, they were undefeated. Their last loss came like September 13th against North Central in 2019. Talk about Pickford and how dominant they've been over the last few years.
Yeah, Pickford's last 3 seasons, they lost in the state finals. They won a state championship, and last year they were undefeated and couldn't finish their season because of COVID. So, like I said, they're 32-2 in the last 3 years. They have 2 more losses from COVID-related issues. But I know if I was Pickford and I was undefeated last year and didn't get a chance to prove myself in the playoffs, I'd certainly be fired up for this season. So, fantastic program. Obviously, Pickford and North Central have been the 2 best 8-man programs in the last couple of years in UP. And, we have to go to Pickford. They beat a good Gaylord St. Mary's team last week pretty handily. So, yeah, it will be an uphill challenge, no doubt about it.
And we'll talk to head coach Josh Rader in a little bit, but let's talk about them and their running game. They like to run the football, and they have a guy named Josh Sullivan that broke a couple of big plays this past weekend. So I guess talk about Pickford, some of the things that you do to try to defend a Pickford football team.
Yeah, they're pretty similar to us. I think they like to run the football and control the time of possession and try to play power football, and obviously they do a great job of it. They have a couple huge linemen. I'm not sure exactly what their size are, but, they got to be 6'4" and over 250 for both of them. They're very, very big individuals, nice running back. So they're very tough to defend. Somehow you have to stop their power game and hopefully try to make them do something different, because if they're going to run power football at you all night and be successful, it's going to be a long evening for you.
Well, it's 1-0 Munising versus 1-0 Pickford. What's the difference when you head into a practice on Monday, you're going into weights, when you're 1-0 compared to 0-1?
Yeah, I think all the bumps and bruises always feel a little bit better after a victory than a loss, and we try not to put too much emphasis on one game. It is what it is. We won a football game, and we need to move on and get ready for Pickford. And after the Pickford game, we'll have to move on and get ready for Inca Dine. So you can't pat yourself on the back too much, or sulk in your sorrows too much either, because you have to prepare and get ready for the next week. So, like I said, I'm sure everybody feels a little bit better on a Monday morning after a win, but coaches, it doesn't seem like we get much of a break. We're watching film as soon as we can Friday night after our game and trying to get ready over on the weekend and get the practice schedule ready for the week and prepare for the next game.
Can you overanalyze a Pickford team with all the film that you guys watch?
Sometimes you can't do too much. There's an old saying, keep it simple, stupid. And sometimes you do have to keep it simple, because you still have to just get out there and play football. And it still comes down to fundamentals and those types of things. Now, obviously, there's different things different teams do that you can key on and scout and those types of things. But, yeah, it still boils down to fundamentals and who takes care of football and those types of things. So at times you maybe can do a little too much, but I'd rather err on the side of watching too much film than not being prepared, that's for sure.
And, Coach, I have to ask this, otherwise I wouldn't be doing my job. I'm not going to ask you who your starting quarterback is, because obviously you have 2 great quarterbacks. Is it harder to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, or do you go with the flow of the game to decide who's going to be the quarterback? Because we know Kane Nebel got hurt last year. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go this week or not. I know that depends on practice and how he looks, things like that. But when you have two quarterbacks, I guess, how do you get a feel for the game and who to play?
Well, one is right-handed, one's left-handed. Maybe that's how we'll decide which way we're going on. Maybe that's which way we're going on the field this week. That's as good a clue as I'm going to give you. We have a good problem. We have two good quarterbacks. Both play well. Both help us on defense as well. So there may be some type of rotation. I will say Billy Chris had a fantastic game last week and didn't do anything to hurt himself. And Kane is coming off an injury, so we still have to be careful with where he's at and how he's feeling. So, I'm hoping Kane gets back to 100% health, and I'm hoping Billy keeps playing well.
All right. Head coach Matt Matson of the Munising Mustangs joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show. Coach, good luck as you guys travel to Pickford this weekend.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
We are going to take this quick commercial break, but when we come back, we are going to head out to Pickford and talk to head coach Josh Rader of the Pickford Panthers as they get set to take on the Munising Mustangs. Both teams 1-0 heading into this contest Friday night. You're listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show presented by Rome Media on WQXO Munising, SoundCloud, and on Spotify.
When it's time to find insurance professionals you can depend on, trust in Alger General Agency, serving our area since 1942, providing personal, residential, and commercial lines of insurance with A+ rated companies. Alger General Agency takes pride in their one-of-a-kind customer service with a comfortable hometown feel, with 2 locations in downtown Munising and Marquette's Chippewa Square. Find contact info for both locations at algergeneralinsuranceagency.com.
Parents can't always be there to ensure their child is safe in sports. That's where the certified athletic trainers at UP Rehab Services step in. They assess and treat injuries, provide rehab, and make the important calls about concussions. UP Rehab Services, along with UP Health Systems, keep athletes safe and in the game. We are your fast track to recovery. Contact us today for a free injury screen at uprehab.com. Back now on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour, we welcome in the head football coach of Pickford. And Pickford is in a unique situation, a lot of success over the past few years as they had a great run in 18, won it in 19, and then won every game on their schedule in 2020 that they were able to play. Coach Josh Rader joins us right now. And Coach, welcome to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour. What was it like for you and a football team getting back on the field, playing week 1 and having a lot of success in week 1?
It was great just to be out there and to be able to play football. I know the kids were super excited to be out there and, just to be able to be out on the field and playing a game that we all love.
What was your message to the players going into the season, knowing that football could or could not start or stop at any time?
You know what? We were coming into the season, and we can only control the things that we can control. And we're going to go into the season. We're going to play the best of our ability, get better where we can get better, not worry about the stuff that we can't control. And we're just going to worry about football. And that's what we're going to put our mind to and just try to get better at playing the game that we enjoy.
Coach, your team has had a lot of success, as we mentioned, starting back in 2016. And we talked to other coaches like from around Inca, Dine, Superior Central, even Munising, a team that you guys faced this week. They struggle to get numbers. What's it like keeping the football and the interest in the kids in your area when it comes to 8-man football?
There's a lot of interest just around us, and we've got good numbers, and we want to be able to keep that rolling, obviously. But just having those great numbers and having success a lot of times helps to bring kids out. They all want to be part of that program. And so getting those kids out and they have a fun, just being out there, being able to play football and just enjoying it. And, when you have success, kids, like I said, want to be out. They want to be a part of that success, and that success breeds numbers. And that's what you want to keep rolling. And that's what we're seeing as far as that Pickford goes. And so we want to keep that rolling.
Head coach Josh Rader joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show as they get ready for Munising. Week 1, you had a couple of big plays. You had a 22-0 lead. Gaylord scored a touchdown, got a little bit closer, but I felt like you guys really prepared well for that game. You guys really had your foot on the gas pedal on that. Your performance week one with those big plays, what did you see, and how did you feel the performance was in week one?
I think we came out well. We got a young offensive front, and Gaylord St. Mary's, Kevin O'Connell does a great job down there. They always have a quality team. They're well prepared, and they're technically sound, and they threw all kinds of stuff at us, all kinds of different fronts at us. So it was kind of a baptism by fire for that front line, and I think they handled it well. And we knew it was going to be a hard-hitting game, and so there's the swing of momentum several times in the game, just like you'd mentioned, and they never gave up. And we knew it was going to be a four-quarter game, and we had to be focused the entire time. I was pleased with our seniors, the leadership that we had during the game. We have some senior leadership on the line. We have one lineman that's a senior, and then in the backfield we have some seniors in the backfield as well. I thought they did well just leading the team and picking up where we needed them at.
And Josh Sullivan had himself one heck of a game and had himself a couple of big, long runs to really break things open. What's that do to build the momentum and really give you the confidence as you guys continue to go into this week against Munising and getting ready for a Munising team that had a shutout last week?
Yeah, Josh Sullivan, he's a great senior, and he did a great job for us, just making some big plays for us down the stretch, and just being that senior leader that needs to be. You need that guy that's going to step up to the forefront when the game's on the line and make those big plays. And in those tough games, big players rise to the top. And we're going against a tough Munising team. I thought they did very well last year, and they came in and they play a physical style of game, and they're well coached over there, I think, as well. And so it's going to be a tough game this week. I think it's going to be 4 quarters of hard-nosed football. What you like to see in the Upper Peninsula, that grinded out style football, and there'll be plastic cracking all over the field, and it's exciting on Friday night to hear that. Just two teams going at it, and it's going to be exciting, I think. And so we got to be prepared because Munising is going to bring it this week.
Coach Rader joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. And we talked about it. You say they're well coached, well prepared. You guys haven't seen Munising. So what's it like preparing for a team that went to 8-man last year? You get them this year. You've actually never went one-on-one with it. What's that like playing a Munising team, a team that you haven't seen?
Yeah, we haven't, like you said, we haven't been able to play them. There's a learning curve in that first year. We had it when we went to 8-man, and they had it last year. And you learn things that you can do, and little nuances of the game. It's a little bit different than 11-man. There's a lot of stuff that's very similar, but there's some differences. And so they pick up on those, and they get better from it. And the coaches, you learn things as a coach, those nuances and what you can do and what you can't do. And so they're going to be better that way and better prepared. And so I think you'll see that on the field as their coaching progresses that way. And so it'll be a lot more exciting. Well,
I believe the last time that Pickford actually played Munising was about 10 years ago in 2011. So obviously a lot has changed, including going from 11-man to 8-man. Coach, you saw Munising, and you're breaking down film, and you got to see Billy Crisp on film last week, the quarterback for Munising, but you also know that they have Kane Niebel. We don't know who's going to be playing, who's going to be starting, if Kane's going to be back from injury. How do you go preparing for who Munising's quarterback might be this week?
I saw them on film. The quarterback did a great job this last week. He's an athlete. We can see it, but we also know that we don't know if the other one will be back or not this week. So you just kind of prepare for both, and you get ready for whatever scenario might be coming at us, and just kind of prepare mentally for both types of scenarios, and just be prepared. 8-man is the game of football. Even in 8-man, it's all about adjustments on the field. And who can make those adjustments the quickest, and a little bit of a chess game even during the game as well. And so it's a lot of fun.
I asked Coach Matson this. You guys are obviously playing Friday night of Labor Day weekend. So what's the difference playing Thursday night of Labor Day, Friday night of Labor Day? I know you get to have that decision. Do you like high school football on the Friday? I guess talk about how you come to the conclusion of playing on a Friday night on Labor Day weekend.
Me personally, I know there's all kinds of opinions out there, but there's nothing like Friday night under the lights, right? That's high school football, and that's where all the memories are, right? Friday night under the lights, and just being able to go out there and play on that Friday night. So for me, it's always Friday nights. Friday nights every time.
You're a lot like Jeff Olson. When I talked to Coach Olson, he always wanted to play on Friday night, and it sounds like you're the same. So good luck to you and your Pickford football team as you guys take on Munising Friday night at 7 o'clock in a game you can hear on AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO and at WQXO.com, featuring Cameron and Charlie Nebel.
All right, thank you, Casey.
Thank you. We're going to take this time out. When we come back, we will head to Eben and talk to the head football coach of the Superior Central Cougars, Mr. Sam Eggleston, as his team got beat by Rudyard last week, 52-0, but they host Inca Dine in the first home game of the season for them. You're listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show, presented by Rome Media on AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO, on SoundCloud, and on Spotify. The Munising Flower Shop has been your hometown florist since 1939. Whether you're looking for a special gift or a beautiful arrangement, the Munising Flower Shop can assist you with any events life throws at you, including showing your love and support with a heartfelt arrangement or remembrance gift. The Munising Flower Shop, serving all of Alger County. Give them a call at 387-3499. For great automotive care to keep your ride running smoothly, visit the auto specialist at Skip's Auto Repair in Munising. Skip's Auto Repair, located at 109 East Munising Avenue, services vehicles for oil changes and lube, auto repair, brake repair, diagnostic services, electrical repair, engine repair, tune-ups, suspension repair, and general maintenance. Call 387-5120 for quality auto service you can rely on. Be sure to choose Skip's Auto Repair. Joining me now on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show, the head coach of the Superior Central Cougars, Mr. Sam Eggleston, joins us. And Coach, tough one last week, took it on the chin. Let's not sugarcoat that. 52-0 was the final score as you guys took on Rudyard. I guess, what do you take out of that game to make the football team better?
Well, Casey, we saw a lot of things that need to be improved, obviously, where our football IQ is lacking, where we didn't quite understand the concepts. So what we're taking from that is just, a re-education of the offensive line and the defensive line. That's where we had our most difficult aspects of the game as a whole. So we're going to just get back out there this week. We started on Sunday, actually, right after the game. And we're just going to work on that intensity, understanding what our jobs are, understanding just, how the play flows and where we need to be. And hopefully that gets us where we need to be going.
Coach, I know you're a competitor. You hate losing more than anybody that I know. So what are some of the positive things that you pull from that when you're looking at game film and stuff that you tell the kids, hey, we did this, we can build on it? What are those things?
Well, I mean, if you heard me after the game, there was absolutely nothing. But after watching the tape, we did see some bright spots here and there. We had some young kids who, they were doing the right thing. They maybe just weren't doing it with the right technique. They had the right idea. They just weren't in the right spot. So those are things that we can educate that. We can build on that. On top of that, we had a lot of emotion after the game, especially from my older kids. There were tears, which you don't usually see from kids who just think that, hey, whatever, we lost. You get that from kids who it personally hurt. It personally hurt them that we lost like that. And that's something that I know for a fact I can use as a base to build us up.
That's awesome, because that shows that they care and they don't want to be embarrassed or on the wrong side of a score like that anymore. As Sam Eggleston joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. And I know that we said his name a lot, but it appears that Kulik had a good game for your football team. Talk about his contributions and some of the things that he still needs to improve on.
Mr. Wyatt Kulik, he's the third Kulik I've coached over the years. I had his older brother, Ben, and Josh. And, he's an undersized kid that, like his older brothers, that I wanted to turn into a fullback and a linebacker. And he stepped up in all those roles for us. Unfortunately, we had an injury that forced him out of position for last week, so he went to our wing and to a defensive back position, and he just stepped up for us in a way that we knew he could, and we had hoped he would, and he definitely did. He was all over the field defensively, making some outstanding plays, getting some tackles for losses, and then offensively, he ran the ball for us well a couple of times, and we lost our quarterback due to some cramps with all that heat and humidity out there. And so we threw him in at quarterback, and he made a few things happen. He really took charge of the huddle. And we definitely see some things with him that are extremely promising and very reassuring in the idea that we can plug and play him in multiple positions.
And let's talk about that a little bit. We're not taking anything away from Rudyard by any means, because E.J. Suggett was really good, and you saw how good that Rudyard was coming into this season. But let's talk about that. You talked about the heat, humidity. There are times where officials actually stop the game for water breaks. How bad was it, and how warm was it in Rudyard on Saturday?
I mean, it was sapping for sure. We got out there right away. You could tell it was just draining us. Just instantaneously, you're sweating when you're out there, because it wasn't just the heat. It was just coming off that field, and it's been raining. And it was just absolutely just drenching your body. And so, it was really tiring, and it wore us out faster than what we would have liked. And being that our numbers were so low, we didn't really have numbers to put back in there to give us those breaks. So while we knew it was going to be a conditioning test, we didn't expect that to be on top of it. But at the same time, it's nothing that we haven't faced all summer in terms of practices and prepping. And, we weren't in such a bad shape that I was worried about kids having heat strokes or anything like that. It was just hot, and it was draining, and it exhausted us. But I still think, that wasn't a big enough factor for us to stand where we were at the end.
Well, and that's the biggest difference between playing a Friday night and a Saturday afternoon. Obviously, the afternoon games tend to be a little bit warmer. You guys, and we alluded to this a little bit last week, but you guys played on Saturday in Rudyard. Now you have a home game, and you take on Inca, but the turnaround time is so short as you guys play tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. So let's talk about that. I guess your quick turnaround. How are the injuries after week one? And talk about prepping for Inca, who played on Friday night and lost to an Ironwood team.
Well, Ingadine's well coached. Vince got a nice background over there, and he knows what he's doing. He's had a little bit of a down spell, but that's nothing he can't recover from. In terms of our turnaround time, it's a lot quicker than what we'd like. Obviously, a lot of these teams, they play on a Thursday or Friday, and then they get that extra day, and it makes a huge difference. So Saturday, we got home from that thumping we took from Rudyard, and I sat down that night, and I broke down both our tape and Ingadine's tape, and just got us ready. We showed up Sunday morning, got out on the sled, and we're working, and went over our tape, and we have to accelerate everything kind of by a day, than what we're used to, and so it definitely makes it so that our installs have to happen quicker, and our education has to be fast but thorough. And with them, they're running something completely new that we're not used to. And, they're running it with a very large young man in the backfield, Matthias Miller. And he's quite capable of, being damaging if we're not careful, keeping him contained. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for us, but at least we're at home in front of our home stands. And we're hungry after that Rudyard loss.
Well, and we'll talk about that and what Inca brings to the table in just a little bit as Sam Eggleston joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show. This is the first time where you guys will actually have somewhat of a late afternoon to night game. How different is it playing on that Thursday night or Friday night compared to that Saturday afternoon?
Well, it's definitely cooler. That heat tends to start dissipating, around 4 o'clock. So, we're going to run that. We're going to start at 5 o'clock just because of the lack of light.
Do you start seeing shadows on that football field, or what's that like when you guys go for a pass?
It does sometimes. We played at 5 o'clock before on a Thursday a couple years ago, and when that sun starts setting, it definitely can get in your eyes and be a problem. So it's kind of important that you get things done quick while the sun's still up a bit.
You talked about Inca and how they approach it. They scored 36 points but lost to an Ironwood football team. You talked about Mr. Miller. What else do you have to worry about when it comes to Inca?
They run a nice misdirection. They're running a single wing, which is new for Engadine. So they like to go into motion and either, go with the motion or come back. So it requires a lot of containment, but at the same time flow from your linebackers. Their line's coming off real nice off the ball. They got some experience there, especially with their center. He's back, I think, in his third year on varsity. So, he knows what he's doing and how to control that line. Defensively, they've got real nice flow. They tend to get in the backfield and disrupt. Ironwood managed to escape on them and get that win, but it wasn't without being scrappy. I think Ironwood punted once and Engadine punted twice in that game, and the rest of the time it was just them going at each other's throats the whole time. So we're expecting that they're going to bring the same heat against us, especially since in my time as a coach, at least, Engadine's never lost to us, so they don't want to end that streak.
Coach, good luck to you and your Cougars as you have your home opener tomorrow, 5 o'clock, Thursday, for anybody that's listening to the podcast, just in case, because not everybody listens live. It is what it is. But, Coach, good luck to you and your Cougars as you guys take on and host the Engadine Eagles tomorrow at 5.
Thank you, Casey.
We're going to take this quick timeout. When we come back, we'll head to Mackinac County and talk to head coach Vince Levier of the Engadine Eagles as they get set to take on Superior Central. You're listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour, presented by Rome Media on WQXO Munising, SoundCloud, and on Spotify.
It's live and local Jamadots Stream TV, available only on the Jamadots Network. Jamadots offers 12 channels with local news and sports, and 72 hours of playback. No need to set your DVR. Jamadots has you covered with blazing fast fiber optic internet in select locations for as low as $50 a month. No introductory rates, free installation, free Wi-Fi, and free streaming device when you sign up. Call Jamadots for details, 906-387-9911.
Fall is here, and that means temperatures are dropping. Is your propane tank ready for winter this year? Call Superior Land Gas because they've been trusted for over 100 years, and this is what they do. Superior Land Gas provides propane for appliances, from your outdoor grill to a 1,000-gallon commercial tank. They have the resources and training for heating your home or office. Call Superior Land Gas in Wetmore to switch or get filled up today at 387-4660. Welcome back to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. Joining me for a second consecutive week, the head football coach of the Engadine Eagles, Mr. Vince Levier. And, Coach, obviously not the way you wanted to start the year, but I thought there was a lot of positives with your football team. We talked about it last week, playing a team that you haven't seen before and a team that hadn't played in a few years with Ironwood. Talk about your preparation for that team and scoring 36 points, but unfortunately you gave up more points than what you scored.
Yeah, it's playing a team that you've never seen before, and we were able to even get any scrimmage film on it. So it was kind of a toss-up what to prepare for. So we just kind of worked on fundamentals and prepared for whatever we would see. They had some good skill position kids, and they threw the ball pretty well. So, we ran the ball pretty well. We also, didn't play very good defense. So they ended up outscoring us, and we got stopped at a 9-yard line with no time left. So maybe one or two more plays would have been a different outcome. But they, you got to give credit to them. They played well.
You talked about your team and scoring the points, and I guess talk about that because you had a couple of outstanding players and a couple of outstanding big plays in that game. So overall, offensively, how happy were you with that performance and getting those big plays out of your offense?
Yeah, offensively, I was pretty happy. Our O-line, I think, played pretty well. Our backs ran hard. We didn't throw the ball exceptionally well, but I think we had over 400 yards rushing. So it definitely was a good positive there.
Not bad offensively, Coach, when you get all those yards offensively. It shows you good signs of things to come, and then you just got to work on that defense a little bit.
Yep, we're working on it.
All right. Head coach Vince Levier joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour as we talk Engadine football as they take on Superior Central. We talked to Coach Eggleston a little while ago, and we talked about their tough turnaround playing on a Saturday, then coming back on a Thursday. You guys get that one extra day of rest. I guess with you, how is it playing at a Thursday, 5 o'clock on the road against Superior Central?
we'll play at any time, anywhere. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. You just got to, design your practices around that. So it's no biggie.
Head coach Vince Levier joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. I guess talk about Superior Central and playing them. I know you guys have a lot of respect for each other and both try to build your program, but I guess talk about Superior Central and what you saw on film with them, because talking to Coach Eggleston, he didn't see a lot of positive as after the game, but he did see some positive during the film. So what did you guys see as you guys play SC?
They have some great skill position kids. The Frusky kids, a heck of an athlete, and they got a pretty good set of linebackers, and they definitely had some positives. They kind of ran into a buzzsaw at the Red Yard. Red Yard is pretty loaded this year, so it's kind of hard to tell, their level. But we're kind of, our programs are kind of in the same boat. We're both super small schools, kind of small fish, playing in a big pond. I think we're the second small school in UP that even plays football. So we're kind of the underdogs. So it's kind of nice to see, another team that's, another town that's sort of in the same boat as us. Neither one of us really have enough kids for a JV team. So we're just pretty much 9 through 12 programs, and we both have to start freshmen and sophomores on the varsity. So it'll be a good week.
Well, I know last week you talked about being young. We know Superior Central is also young. How do you go about developing on the fly and maybe getting that freshman that's playing on the offensive line and getting them IQ knowledge and football knowledge? How do you accelerate that and get them to be better, smarter football players?
Well, if I had an answer for that, I'd be coaching in the NFL. It's hard to do. I mean, it's sometimes at our level, you have to kind of throw freshmen to the wolves, and you do the best you can in practice and get them, as many good reps in practice as you can, without getting them hurt. But it's definitely a challenge for a lot of the small schools in the UP. We're all pretty much in the same boat. We have to put those younger kids. We got to put them in. They got to be able to learn fast.
When you look at your football team and you see Superior Central, you talked about all the good things from your team last week. What is your game plan against Superior Central? What do you hope to accomplish when you guys play Thursday night at 5:00?
Pretty similar. We'll just kind of try to run the ball. We have a pretty solid offensive line, so we're going to try to control the trenches. And defensively, we just got to do a little better pass defense and not giving up as many big plays.
And when you talked about Superior Central and Frusty, I guess what is the game plan? Obviously, you want containment, but what do you see and trying to stop down a Frusty?
Yeah, we got to contain that kid. If he gets in the open field, I don't have anybody as fast as him. So we got to bring him down before he gets in that open field.
Head coach Vince Levier of the Inca Dine Eagles joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour show. You can listen to Inca Dine versus Superior Central on WQXO Munising Thursday night, 5:00. Bryce Burge will be on that call. Coach, good luck to you and your Eagles this weekend.
All right, we'll see you then.
Picture this, coming home after a long day of work to a professionally laid, personalized tile shower with rainfall shower heads. Does this sound like something you could get used to? Flynn's Flooring in Wetmore carries much more than the beautiful flooring you've come to expect from this family-owned and operated company. A full-service company that specializes in ceramic tile as well as other floor coverings. The team at Flynn's Flooring is waiting for you to stop in to their showroom in Wetmore or call 906-387-1993.
Hutphin's Health Mart welcomes you. Your hometown pharmacy is always here for you. Customer service comes first in all we do. You're gonna find that we love serving you at Hutphin's Health Mart. Service is still our best medicine.
Hutphin Health Mart has been a trusted source to handle your prescriptions for over 80 years. They're always ready to help in a personal way with their experienced and well-trained pharmacy staff. Family-owned and operated. Just people serving people. 119 Elm Avenue in beautiful downtown Munising with convenient parking at the front or rear entrance.
At Hutphin's Health Mart, service is still our best medicine.
Back on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show, we're joined by the head coach of the Marquette Redmond football team, Mr. Eric Mason, whose team was very victorious over Alpena 1 week ago. Coach, welcome back to the Prep Pigskin Power Hour football show. And let's talk about your football team, because what an outstanding opening game from your quarterback, Austin Riddle. 10 of 11, 3 touchdown passes. Do you get over them on that one incompletion? Like, how do you – I mean, that's almost like a perfect game.
Well, he ran one in, so I guess we can accept the one incompletion since he scored one on the ground too. So we'll cut him some slack.
Unbelievable. I mean, seriously though, I mean, is that as close to a perfect game that you've seen from a quarterback?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as high school kids, in the football I've watched, I mean, a lot of it was, obviously your receivers got to catch the ball as well. So, it's just a combination, which, you can't be happier as a coach when everybody's kind of in sync and, the kid throws one incompletion. I mean, what are you going to say? But yeah, it was very proud of the kids. And, as a coach, you get into those things of you're always looking for something to, for lack of a better word, complain about.
Right.
But it was, with him, it was difficult.
No, you're absolutely right. But, I mean, you have a tough schedule that's coming up. Traverse City Central, Escanaba, Kingsford, Gladstone. Now, we know we take it one game at a time. But for people who don't realize how good Traverse City Central is, or the Traverse City Central Trojans are, wow, this team has been very, very good for a long period of time. Talk about playing them and them being on your schedule.
Well, it's different when you turn on the film that you exchange and you see a big M in the middle of the field and realize they're playing at the Big House last week. You're against a little bit different opponent. Obviously, over the years, we've played them. They were playing DeWitt last week.
Really good football team.
Yeah, exactly. I believe they were the state champions last year.
They were.
And so, yeah, you're playing something different. And then, of course, you hear about them. And, I was involved in playing Traverse City back when it was one public high school back in the 80s. And now they've separated into two, and darn, both of them are good. And then they've got, St. Francis. So football in that area is just good. And you look forward to the challenge of playing them. It's a fantastic stadium. The kids are excited. And again, I think it's just one of those games where you run into, and they're kind of program defining games. And I told that to the kids. I said, get down there. I mean, they're very beatable. We're going to have to play mistake free, and we're just going to have to play damn near a perfect game. But I don't put anything by these kids.
Now, I talk about that as Eric Mason joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour as his team gets ready for another Thursday night game, this one against Traverse City Central, the Trojans. At this point, with the success that you guys have had last year and building this program, what would a win like this mean for you? You talk about a staple game. What would this do to really set the season and put a mark on the season if you're able to go down there and win?
Well, I think anytime, you, like you just said, you travel to there especially and are able to, we haven't had much success against them. Let's just put it plainly here. So if we can go down and it would be tremendously beneficial, obviously, but Traverse City is just known for football. It has been since, like I said, I've been young and playing football. So, the kids all understand it, and they've got some kids on their team that, nowadays you can't get anything by our kids as far as social media and whatnot. They know where these kids are being recruited by, and, they got a kid going to Notre Dame and this kid going here and this kid going there, and it's like, oh, geez. But, the funny thing is every time I hear that from my players, I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, guys, let's not make it bigger than it is. And we get to the game, and they don't. They're able to handle it. They're able to play well. So at this point, I just let them go. They know what they need to do, and it definitely would propel our program that much more, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and I want to put this into context as well. I mean, they might be playing a guy that's going to Notre Dame or Michigan State, but they got to realize that people are looking at them too and could be recruiting them to different universities if they're able to come out with a victory.
Absolutely. And, the old thing when you were a kid, right? Everybody, parents would tell you, coaches would tell you, they put their pants on the same way as you do, they tie their shoes, all those type of things. I mean, it is that. But, nowadays with all the, like I said, all the social media and whatnot, it's hard to keep your kids from seeing those things. And let's face it, they ooh and on over it, and there's not much you can do. But definitely, we've got some darn good ball players that I'll put up against anybody, and I know the heart they have and the work they've put in, and their attitudes and like I told them last night, anytime that they've been up against, say, something that was a first for our program, they've overcome and got it done. So I'm not going to doubt them anytime.
Head coach Eric Mason of the Marquette Redmond football team joins me right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour as they get set to take on Traverse City Central, the Trojans. Let's talk about them a little bit because they did have a tough loss at DeWitt, but what do we expect out of a Traverse City Central football team?
Well, I think just like anything, I mean, their team speed is very good. They play sideline to sideline well. They're kind of wide open, similar to our style of offense. And quite honestly, our style of defense, I think both teams are, I'm not going to say we're equally matched, because how the heck do you know that? So you actually play them, right? I mean,
huddle can only go so far, Coach. You know that.
Exactly. I mean, you can say all the things to make your kids feel good and this and that and the other thing, but until you get on the field against them, you don't know what you're facing. I mean, film can only tell you so much. And obviously playing a team like DeWitt, who's, as talented, if not obviously more, they won the game. It's hard to figure out and to see, just get the different tendencies and what they do. But their quarterback, who's also is the kid I was referring to, the Notre Dame kid, he's a quarterback, and of all things, he's a middle linebacker, and which you just don't see very often. And he's a big kid. He looks like he's a heck of a better defensive player than he is an offensive player. But he's 6'4", 215 pounds, and can run. We don't have many of those in the UP.
No.
And we'll deal with them. I mean, he's, again, only one kid, but he's definitely the one they want to have the ball in his hands. As I said, he's the quarterback, so he's got it in his hands each play, and their offense revolves around him.
Head coach Eric Mason joins us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour. And to me, and I know you get hyped about this too, I mean, you guys got to see and play downstate competition last year. Reese Puffer, Mount Pleasant. You got to play Muskegon. They play Muskegon a few times. But what's that mean to you when you get to play the elite teams, to really measure where your football team's at when you get to play them throughout the state?
Well, I think like anything, it means a lot. I mean, you want to be matched up, when you're programmed to see where you're at, measurement-wise, but you want to be matched up against these teams to just see where, how you fare. And, 3 years ago, my first year, we played Muskegon, and they had a young man on their team that was probably the best high school football player I had seen in all my times of coaching and playing. And I think he's at Ohio State now. Anytime you see these teams, and last year I felt very confident in the game. We played well against them. And now we're getting to play. We didn't get to play, obviously, Traverse Cities and whatnot last year due to the schedule and the pandemic and whatnot. But you look forward to that because it just, you just rise up, and you got to take your game to the next level. And each player has to take their game individually to the next level so your team can be competitive. And, the old adage, iron sharpens iron. So, that's what we're looking at here. And I will get a good idea of where we're at with Central. And then later in the year, we've got West and Petoskey. So, it's always you get up. I don't know if you get up a little more for these games. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little more excited for this one. But, it's just as a competitor, it's what you do this for. It's why I coach. It's why the kids play. And looking forward to it.
Well, we talked about huddle and things of that nature, and I talked to Coach Paul Jacobson last week when they got ready to take on Iron Mountain. And I said, well, you haven't really seen this Iron Mountain team because the last time you saw them was 2019. And the basketball team was basically the football team, and they all graduated. Well, you also haven't seen Traverse City Central since 2019. So besides the quarterback going to Notre Dame, what else do you know? What other players do you key in on because you haven't seen them in a couple of years?
Well, I think that's, like you said, where Hutto comes in. I mean, they have several players that you can see are talented. And you just try and get an idea. I mean, like I said, you're matching up against a team like DeWitt. Anybody that's running with them or, you can tell skill-wise on the film, is a pretty darn good player and is going to be pretty darn hard to contain or stop. They had a number 11 who returned a kick and basically, took a kick 80-some yards and probably ran 120 and just outran everybody. He's a heck of an athlete. Plays well defensively as well, but too, you just don't want to get too, awestruck by him. And you don't want to get your kids to do the same. I mean, it's good to watch film and get some tendencies, get their defensive formations or offensive formations, but sometimes it can be a blessing and a curse to watch that as well.
Over prep.
Exactly. Yeah, you get too much into it and start getting yourself your own mind screwing with you. So it's a fine line, and I'm a film guy, but I'm more of a player and attitude and emotion type guy as well. So I kind of like that part of the thing, football a little more. You got your coaches who really zero in on film and X's and O's, and I'm more of with the players and their attitudes and their motivations and the things that they can do and watching them as they surprise themselves in some of the things that they can do during a game.
Coach, I know that you guys have a lot of veteran leadership. Austin Riddle, third-year quarterback for your team. Dramu on there as well. I know you guys have the talent. I know you guys will run with them and do the best you can. I hope nothing but success for you when you guys take on Traverse City Central on Thursday. Good luck traveling, and thank you for taking time out and joining us right here on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Show.
Appreciate it, Casey. Thanks for having me.
And that's going to wrap up this week's Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour Coaches Show. I'd like to thank head coach Matt Matson of the Munising Mustangs, head coach Josh Rader of the Pickford Panthers, Sam Eggleston of the Superior Central Cougars, Vince Levier of the Inca Dine Eagles, and Eric Mason of the Marquette Redmen. You can go back and listen to this anytime on SoundCloud or on Spotify. Just search for Rome Media, and you can click on the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour. Have yourself a great Labor Day weekend. You've been listening to the Prep Pigskin High School Football Power Hour on AM 1400, 97.7 WQX.